I found this Magic Tree House fact tracker nonfiction companion to their ninjas book. Is it historically accurate at all? To do this quickly, we can just go to the weapons section and essentially see what they have to say. Because if they're just absolutely glazing the katana and saying that the samurai use that as their primary weapon, then it's not historically accurate. Weapons. It says samurai were experts on fighting on horseback. Right off the bat, that's pretty good. They were really focused on mounted combat, especially early on. To do this well, they needed different kinds of weapons. Early samurai mainly used bows and arrows. That's also true. I mean, they used tons of other weapons, but they were really good mounted archers. So far, surprisingly accurate. It talks about how they shoot on horseback and were really well trained with that, so it's still good. We've got a section on their spears. Alright. And now on to swords. One of the things that it says is samurai were the only people allowed to wear the daisho, the katana and wakizashi, both of those swords. It phrases it as only people allowed to have these swords, but however, Japanese civilians did carry swords for self-defense, at least during some periods of history. So while they couldn't carry the same two as a samurai in the pair, they could usually carry just one. Usually a wakizashi, because cheaper, pretty convenient. The soul of the sword. Historically, the Japanese did think that swords had souls. However, that's not from some romanticizing how epic their blade is. They practiced Japan still does practice Shinto, which believes that everything has a soul. In a nutshell. So it'd be weird if the katana didn't. It does exaggerate that swordsmiths took months to make swords, which for your super duper top of the line, really good ones, sure, maybe, but the bulk of any sword were more or less mass produced. The modern concept of the katana is more or less based on the uchi katana, which was a relatively cheap version of that blade. They say thousands of layers instead of folded 1,000 times, so that's good. And then they get into Japanese firearms history, which as soon as they got it in the 1560s, 1543, they just completely embraced firearms and integrated them in every aspect of their martial traditions. They go on to war fans, not exactly my wheelhouse, but they existed. Then armor and battles. Something weird here is, let me just read this. Armor and Battles, book on the samurai. Medieval knights in Europe wore very heavy armor. They couldn't run and could hardly walk. Their helmets alone might have weighed over 40 pounds. That's not true. That's not true about medieval knights at all. I mean, that's just not true about medieval knights at all. So I'm glad that whoever wrote this did a decent amount of research into the samurai. Even though they are guilty of a decent amount of exaggerations, it's still some quality historical facts. But their random mentions on medieval knights, that's weird. The weapon stuff is the main thing that I'm discussing, but I really like when they're talking about ninjas here. They're saying the art of being sneaky, and it says, "Can you find the ninja here?" And it's just a bunch of regular people, which really highlights that they weren't just always dressed in black like in the movies. They dress like regular people. You can't find the ninja here because it could be literally anybody. So this book does have some inaccuracies, but it's not bad as some more scholarly texts that I've read. You could definitely learn facts from this.